John Pierpont Morgan said, "A person has two reasons for doing anything. A good reason and a real reason." Welcome to McBain Moments. Alright guys, if you're new to the channel, welcome to the Manor. Make sure you take a moment and subscribe down below. We are on the road to 13 million subscribers, one subscription at a time, so make sure you subscribe. Okay. Reasons. Reasons are our justification for doing anything, good or bad. You change careers. You're going to have a reason for doing so. And one reason is the reason that you tell everyone, and it might be very close to the real reason, but underneath it is the underlying reason that actually causes it. So like when I moved from grocery to banking, the good reason I moved from grocery to banking was because it was an opportunity for me to grow in my career, move away from the grind. The real reason was I was tired of working 70 hours a week. That was one of the cases where the good reason and the real reason were very similar, or not very similar, but they aligned with each other very easily. But it was, in that case, it was very easy for me to look at my boss and say, look, I'm tired of working 70 hours a week. Not all things are like that. Sometimes the good reason is something along the lines of, look, I don't believe that my values align with the direction we're going. And then the real reason is, boss, I think you're an asshole. That's sometimes how it works. And both of these examples are showing a person realigning their career or moving up along in their growth. But it can happen in the other direction too. Why didn't you take an action? Well, the good reason can be, with my current life circumstances, that doesn't appear to be a good direction for me to go. The real reason might be, I'm scared. I'm not comfortable. For instance, there was an opportunity for me to do something, and I'd gone after a similar opportunity in a different location. But looking at the location where the opportunity still stands, I'm like, I can't do it. Now the good reason is that I'm not comfortable in the current environment trying it out in that location. The real reason is very similar, but it's more along the lines of, I can't afford to fail in that location. And so there's always an underlying reason for anything that you do. So when you're looking through life, be honest with yourself if no one else. And you should be honest with everyone as much insofar as you can be and still maintain tact. You know, if calling your boss an asshole is never a good idea. It doesn't look good on a resume. It's just a bad career move. But at the same time, be honest with yourself. It's like, I'm doing this because of this. The reason I give is also technically true, but even if it wasn't technically true, I would still be taking this action because of this other reason. And so you have to be able to look yourself in the mirror and say, I've decided not to do this because I'm afraid that if I fail, I'll never climb out. Or I have decided to take this action because I feel this is the only option that I have. And so, if you're honest with yourself, it gives you that moment of self-reflection. And then, as you reflect on yourself, you have to look at every choice made by everyone around you. Understand that the good reason they give may not be the underlying reason behind it. And accept that they may not be willing to share that with you. That's part of life. They may not be willing to share that with you. And that could be true in any relationship in your life. It could be even a spouse may not be willing to share with you the real reason they made a decision. They may give you a good reason. And in a relationship like that, there's a good chance they will give you the real reason. But they may not be ready to give you the real reason. And that's something you're going to have to accept. That's okay. We all have the things that we struggle with. Inner demons. The psychology behind why we do and think and say the things we do, think, and say. This is the architecture upon which we build our lives. That architecture is how we frame the world around us. It's the story we tell ourselves and about the people around us that help us to understand a world that in and of itself is immensely complex. Insanely complex. And if we can't accept that the architecture we build around ourselves isn't going to match the architecture that any individual around us has, it's not going to match precisely. And a lot of times it's going to be wildly divergent. Then it's only going to cause us trouble. Accepting that we all have our different ways of thinking, our different ways of understanding things, and being able to adapt to those differences in understanding is where you're going to become successful. And understanding that every person's got two reasons for doing anything is where you're going to find the success or failure. This has been a McBain moment.